Hey everyone, I just got out of the shower, but I wanted to talk to you about my November plans and also what I just finished reading in October. So in October, I was doing Gothtober, and I actually have not gone through and checked to see how many of the prompts that I did actually achieve. I know I did not get all of them because my personal life was really full in October and I just didn't have as much time to read. And then there was a few days when I was sick and I just couldn't read. So anyway, but the last book that I finished was Daisy Darker, and this is by Alice Feeney. This is my first Alice Feeney that I've ever read. And I picked it up at McLean and Eakin at the end of my little hiking trip that I did with my friend. Basically, I just felt like fall is getting close to coming to an end. Like, the leaves are all off the trees and it's beginning to feel like winter, at least for me. The temperatures are still fall temperatures, but I just feel like, yeah, it's done, and I kind of want to be in this cozy winter vibe where I'm appreciating what I have, reading what I have, and just living closer to home, I guess. So anyway, I picked this one up in my attempt to make sure I had enough books. We'll talk about that later. And it is basically kind of like a retelling of Agatha Christie's And Then There Were None. So it takes place at this like beautiful lakeside home. I think it's in Cornwall in the UK, which is a place I want to visit because I hear it's just like a really nice like beach town, like a cool summer vibe. Anyway, the whole family has basically been called to this house for the grandmother's 80th birthday. So the whole family includes like the mom and the dad, who are separated and divorced, blah, blah, blah. 3 daughters, and they're all named after flowers. So it's Rose and Lily and the narrator, Daisy. Lily has a daughter. Her name is Trixie. I'm pretty sure it's Trixie. It's something with T. And then there's also like this kind of neighbor kid that the family has just kind of taken on as one of their own, who is now a grown man. Anyway, they all come back to the house, and the grandma is celebrating her birthday, and then she decides to read her will because she is under the impression she's not going to live much past her 80th birthday. She reads the will. Everyone gets mad at her. Life is great. And then it kind of, I guess this kind of And Then There Were None plot unfolds, where people are just dying left and right, and you're trying to figure out who did it. So that is what I will say. And then I'm going to go into stuff that's not spoilers, but just a little bit more specific. So if you don't want to hear anything that is, I swear it's not a spoiler, but it's just like what way you need to be thinking, stop listening right now. The whole time I was like, this book is fine, but I'm probably going to end up just passing it along to someone else. I was really trying to think in the And Then There Were None mindset and try and figure out, okay, who is the one that is basically setting up this whole like game and killing all these people and just like checking off things in a poem and all this stuff. And I don't know that was the right place to look, because the actual mystery was like over here, and I was like, what? So the end of the book definitely like blew my mind, and it made the star rating definitely increase for me. I thought it was a super well done book. I want to talk about my November plans. So as I said, in October I participated in Gothtober. I intended to also participate in Victober, and I even had from here all the way till I think this navy blue book. Those are all my Victober sort of reads, and I ended up not reading a single one, so that needs a redo. I know Brian from Bookish talked about how he was reading one of the ones that I actually have on my shelf as an audiobook when he would go for walks, and I think that's something I might think about if there's anything that I want to listen to while I read, because I actually think that's a really good way to get through some of these chunkers. So thank you, Brian, for that idea. It's something I will think about. So on to Nonfiction November, which is like absolutely one of my favorite months. Like, I don't even know what my favorite are now, because I'm obsessed with Shorty September, and then I was never really super into Victober, but then Gothtober happened and that is totally my jam. And then Nonfiction November, obviously, so I don't know what I'm into. Doris also needs to bring back her summer reading thing. Anyway, so what I have decided to do is, because I'm still in this like Gothtober mindset, I basically pulled all my nonfiction books that I think have this kind of creepy vibe and are scary. But with that being said, I'm not talking about like real scary. I'm not talking about like racism or gun violence or violence against women, like the things that are actually scary. Just more like true crime, murder, blah, 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 all that sort of stuff. And so I kind of arranged them on my second shelf right here. And these are pile of possibilities. Thank you, cousin, for my November. So I have a couple of books by Colin Dickey. He is amazing if you're into like spooky nonfiction about like death and murder and ghosts and also like other creatures like Bigfoot and stuff like this. So this one is about grave robberies, I'm pretty sure. And this one is about haunted places. So I have both those to read. I have a book about books, which, you know, doesn't really fit the theme, but I love books about books. It is Bibliomaniac, and I'm pretty sure it's signed by the author. And then I have Quackery, which is a book about like basically like weird medical stuff that has happened and how people use bizarre things to try and heal people. Danse Macabre, which is by Stephen King, and he's writing basically about other horror books, horror movies, and just like the whole like genre of scaring people. Then I have all my Eric Larson books that I own, which I think are always kind of creepy and like exciting and stuff like that. Then I'm gonna turn the camera a little bit. I have The Witches of America, and this is a book that I got before my Salem vacation. This is actual true stories of like what it means to be a witch in America, and just like how they live their life, where they live their life, all sorts of stuff like that. Fatal Passage. This is about this guy who I'm pretty sure was the one who actually found the Northwest Passage, but there was all this drama behind it. I think there was murder behind it of other people claiming that they had actually found it when it was him, and just like a whole bunch of cover-up and all sorts of stuff like that. Then I have Race Against Time, which is there's an unsolved, well, I think this is multiple unsolved murder cases that happened during the Civil Rights era, and then a reporter kind of reopens them and tries to figure out what happens, I think, but also like just talks about like the bigger issues behind that. Then I have Cultish, which is just about random stuff, I guess, the language of fanaticism. Radium Girls, which I've already watched the movie. I think this will be super interesting, just about people that worked at, I forgot what it's called, well, Radium, obviously, like the factories that did like glow-in-the-dark watch dials and stuff like that, and how people were exposed to lots of horrible things at work. Then Six Women of Salem, which is the true story of some of the people that were killed when people claimed they were witches. Then I have The Witches, which is like a, you know, nonfiction also account of the whole witch trial scene in America. I'm pretty sure it doesn't cover the UK stuff, which actually happened first, but anyway. And then The Wicked Boy, this is about, I'm pretty sure it's about a little boy. So in the summer of 1895, 13-year-old Robert Combs and his little brother Natty seems like a girl name, were spending lavishly around the docklands of East London for 10 days in July. They ate out at coffee houses, took trips to the seaside and the theater, living their best life. When their aunt grew suspicious and forced her way into their home, she discovered the badly decomposed body of their mother in an upstairs bedroom. the boys were arrested for matricide and sent to trial. And so, yeah, I think it's about, like, did they actually do it? And what the heck caused them to do something like that? Skeleton Keys, which is the history of bones. Lady Killers, which is about women that were either murderers, serial killers, whatever. Lost and Found. So I don't know how to describe it, but when I'm in the UP and I see Lake Superior, it gives me such an eerie feeling. Like, it is the absolute biggest of the Great Lakes, by far, by far, by far. It is just such a monster, like a beautiful monster, and there are so many shipwrecks there. I think the Edmunds Fitzgerald song that came out back in the day describes it, like, I think, what does it say? Like, I'll put the actual words here, but I think it says something about an icy castle or an icy chamber or something. Like, I just get that vibe when I am there. And so this book is about all the shipwrecks that have happened, not just in Superior, which to me is the scariest of the Great Lakes and the most amazing, but in the other ones as well. And it is cool because I'm about 3 miles from Lake Michigan. It is cool, the stuff that, like, just through like erosion and stuff, shipwrecks are like buried and unburied, you know, over time. And so there was a time a few years ago, I'm not sure if it's still there just because stuff gets covered and uncovered, but there was a shipwreck where you could literally just like walk a little bit down the beach and like actually be at a shipwreck, you know. So that was kind of cool. And then finally, this one is White Magic, and I think this is about how people have kind of taken things the Native Americans have been doing for ages and have kind of taken them to be this new age sort of thing, and about how that's like not okay and how they might be misunderstanding what the purpose actually is of some of these things. As I said loads of times, I am a mood reader, and I have fully embraced that this year, just allowing one book to lead to the other, lead to the other, lead to the other, which means that even though I showed you all these, I might want to read something else. But with that being said, I'll tell you what I'm going to start with. So as you know, I just finished Daisy Darker, which was basically a spinoff of Agatha Christie. So I decided that my first nonfiction I'm going to start with is Agatha Christie, A Very Elusive Woman, and this is by Lucy Worsley. I think it is a pretty popular book right now as far as nonfiction. I hear it's really, really well done, and honestly, I don't know much about Agatha Christie at all. I've only read one book, and then there were none, so it worked out that I read this, which was like a retelling of that. But yeah, I'm excited to learn more, and then possibly in the future read more of her books too, if I feel like I want to. It's kind of this thing where you're taking books from a different time period, and sometimes there are things that are problematic in them. So yeah, we'll see. Anyway, I hope you guys are having an amazing end to October, living up the fall life or the spring life if you're in the southern hemisphere. And yeah, I'm just curious what your plans are for November and what you accomplished for October. I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.